welcome to Cooking with Catherine. Today we will be making a cake from American Cook, or the art of dressing viands, fish, poultry, and vegetables, and the best modes of making pastes, puffs, pies, tarts, puddings, custards, and preserves, and all kinds of cakes, from the imperial plum to plain cake, by Amelia Simmons. Today we will need 3/4 a cup of sugar, 1 cup of butter, which I've already melted, 3 eggs, and 1 cup of flour. First, I'm adding the melted butter, and then I'm going to add the flour. We need 1 cup. As I'm making this cake, it's really interesting to see how cakes back then were made so simply. They didn't use baking powder or cornstarch. They really only used the basic ingredients: flour, eggs, butter, and sugar. It's truly incredible to think about what you can make with limited resources. Now I need 3/4 a cup of sugar, 2, 3. It's really rather incredible. This book has been around since 1796, and it's seen so much history in its long lifespan. It's seen everything from the beginning of our country to the War of 1812, the Civil War, both world wars, and so many events in between. It's really incredible. It makes me wonder what they used this cake for back then. Sure, it may have been just for a birthday or a wedding, but maybe they used it to celebrate the arrival home of soldiers from the Civil War. It's truly incredible how much history this book and these recipes have seen. It also makes you wonder about the large proportion sizes. I'm halving the recipe because it originally calls for 1 pound of flour, which is a lot in today's age. It really makes you wonder if they used it to feed soldiers on their way to battle, or to feed whole companies of people at banquets. It's really intriguing. I wonder what they used back then, especially since I'm using a whisk now. The other thing I noticed while reading this cookbook was the reflection of social ideals of the time period. As when I read the preface, it talked about how this book was created for the betterment of women in the kitchen. Whereas women had been in the kitchen for centuries before, cooking meals for their families. It truly reflects the basic definitions of meat and how to choose it, and how to do simple things such as cook a chicken, when women had been doing this so many years before. It really reflects the fact that women were thought of as less competent and less intelligent than men. The primary role was in the kitchen, but they weren't allowed to have jobs, and frankly, the only thing they were expected to do was cook or clean. So you would think that they would already have that mastered, but according to this textbook, it doesn't seem like many people had. It really irritates me because I believe that women have equal intelligence as men, and so it's really interesting to see how our idea of social norms has changed since the 1700s. Now I'm pouring the batter into the pan. Okie dokie. I guess now all we have to do is set the oven and put the cake in. Okay, the oven's almost up to the temperature, 375. So now we're just putting the cake in the oven. There we go. I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes and then we're going to check it. There we go. All you have to do is wait. It's incredible how this cookbook has taught so many women, so many generations to cook, and not just to cook, but to create a home for their families. It's truly incredible to think about. This source has been used by so many for so long, and it's really incredible how it shows the traditions of the past through the recipes. It's really incredible that we're able to continue these traditions with this cookbook and with other sources that survive. We are back. The cake has cooled after it got out of the oven, and I figured we'd try it together. It's a little hard by today's standards. And I ended up putting it in for 30 minutes instead of 25. The book did not have a cook temperature or time, so I kind of just went with what seemed like would be right for a cake. So the fact that there wasn't a cook time or a temperature just shows the difference in technology between that age, and not to mention the differences in cooking techniques. Okay,